Let me ask you a question. Have you ever built an app that worked absolutely perfectly on your machine, only to watch it completely blow up the second it hits production? If you've been in tech for more than 5 minutes, you've definitely heard the infamous excuse, but it works on my machine. Well, today, we're going to talk about Docker, the tool that was literally designed to make that problem go away forever.
Right here, this is the stuff of developer nightmares. You spend weeks, maybe months, on a new feature. It passes every single local test. It's perfect. You ship it to production, feeling great, and then it's just chaos. The app crashes, alerts are firing, and you're stuck saying those dreaded words, "But it works on my machine."
So what's the real villain in this story? Honestly, it's probably not your code. The real culprit is the environment. Just think about it for a second. Your laptop is a completely different universe from that production server. It's got a different OS version, different system libraries, different configurations. All these tiny little differences add up, and they are the silent killers of our applications.
To really get why Docker is such a massive game changer, we need to take a quick trip back in time. Back to let's call them, the bad old days of deploying software. So buckle up, because it wasn't pretty.
Okay, so first up, we had the one app, one server era. You want to deploy a new app? Great. Go buy a whole new expensive physical server and wait for it to show up. To save money, we started stuffing multiple apps onto the same server, and that led to what we affectionately call dependency hell. See, App A needed one version of a library, but App B needed a totally different version. You upgrade one, you break the other. It was an absolute nightmare to manage.
And then, along came this revolutionary idea that promised to fix everything. Virtual machines, or VMs for short. And you know what? For a long time, they were the best answer we had.
The concept behind VMs was actually brilliant. You'd have this piece of software called a hypervisor that could take one big, beefy server and slice it up into multiple virtual ones. Each VM got its own full-blown, completely isolated operating system. So now your apps could live in their own little sandboxes, totally unaware of each other. Dependency hell solved. But, and there's always a but, VMs had some serious baggage. They were incredibly heavyweight. Each and every VM had to run its own entire operating system. That meant they were huge. We're talking gigabytes, and they took forever to boot up. This created what we call the OS tax. You're paying for all the CPU, memory, and licensing for a whole OS, even if your app is just a tiny little script. It's just not very efficient.
And this is right where Docker comes into the picture, offering a way more efficient and lightweight approach to this whole virtualization thing.
And here it is. This is the magic of Docker. Instead of virtualizing the entire hardware stack, like a VM does, Docker virtualizes at the operating system level. What that means is all of your containers share the same host OS kernel. That might not sound like a big deal, but trust me, it's a huge deal. No more wasted resources on dozens of redundant operating systems.
Let's just put this side by side for a second. A typical VM, we measure it in gigabytes, and it can take several minutes to start. A Docker container, we measure it in megabytes, and it starts in seconds, sometimes even milliseconds. This isn't just a small improvement, it's a completely different way of thinking about how we deploy software.
So how does all this magic actually work under the hood? Well, it really comes down to two fundamental concepts: images and containers.
Let's kick things off with the Docker image. The best way to think of an image is like a blueprint or a recipe for your application. It's this read-only template that has absolutely everything your app needs to run: your code, all its dependencies, the runtime, you name it. It is a perfect frozen-in-time snapshot of your entire application environment.
Now, what's really clever about images is that they're built in layers. You start with a base layer, like a super minimal version of Linux. Then you stack another layer on top with, say, your Node.js runtime. And then on top of that, you add a final layer with your application code. This whole layered approach is incredibly efficient, because if you have 10 different images that all use the same base layers, Docker is smart enough to only store those layers once.
So, if the image is the blueprint, then the container is the actual house built from that blueprint. A container is a live, running instance of an image, and this is where the real power kicks in. From one single image, you can launch 1, 10, 100, even thousands of identical, perfectly isolated containers.
Okay, enough theory. How do you actually create one of these magical blueprints for your application?
You do it with a simple text file, and it's called a Docker file.
It's basically just a recipe for building your image, step by step. You start with a from instruction to pick your base. Then you use run to execute commands like installing packages. Copy gets your code from your machine into the image, and finally CMD tells Docker exactly what command to run when the container starts up. It really is that simple.
And that simple file unlocks the whole build, ship, run workflow that is really the foundation of modern DevOps. You build the image once on your machine, you ship that image up to a central registry like Docker Hub, and then you can run that exact same image anywhere, on your coworker's laptop, on a staging server, in the cloud, it doesn't matter. The environment is now perfectly portable. The works on my machine problem is officially dead.
Now, let's talk about a super common mistake that beginners make, creating enormous Docker images. I get it. It's tempting to just throw everything you need to build your app into the final image, but that is a really bad idea. Big images are slow to transfer around, and more importantly, they increase your security attack surface because they're full of tools you don't need in production. When it comes to production, smaller is always better.
So the solution, the pro move here, is a powerful feature called multi-stage builds. The idea is brilliant. You use one container as a builder stage that has all your compilers and build tools. Once your app is built, you start a brand new, clean stage and you copy only the final compiled application into it. The result? A tiny, secure image that contains only what it absolutely needs to run.
To really get started and get your hands dirty with Docker, you only need to know a handful of commands. Docker image build takes your Docker file and creates that image blueprint. Docker image ls shows you all the images you have locally. Docker container run fires up a new container from one of those images. And Docker container ls shows you what's currently running. Seriously, with just these four, you can do a whole lot.
So let's just wrap it all up. What is Docker? Docker solves that critical environment inconsistency problem by packaging up your application with all of its dependencies into a single portable unit called a container. If it runs in a container on your machine, it is guaranteed to run in a container anywhere else. Simple as that.
Okay, so now you know how to build and run a single container. That's awesome. But what about a real-world application? You know, one with a web server, a database, a cache, all running in their own separate containers. How do you manage all of them together? Well, that is where things get really interesting, and it's exactly what we're going to dive into in our next explainer on Docker Compose and container orchestration. So make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss that one.